a little bit different because Peach is our very good friend. She's our special guest today. She's been fasting. She's fasted quite a bit. Do you want to tell us about how much fasting you do, Peach?
First of all, it's very honored to hear that you just said. And yes, I've been doing fasting quite a few years, but on and off. And here is quite different lifestyle. But I try to get back to fasting. So far, I get back to fasting to 24. I start with 3 times a week, and now I try to adjust my schedule. And what we are doing here, we're in the middle of moving to our new place. So I get back to 2 times a week, that 24 2 times a week, and swap with 16 and 8 hours. It depends on how I feel, really, and depends on what we are doing. We're quite busy at the moment. So I quite swap this program. I don't know how to call it, but I mean 24 times and swap with 16 and 8 hours.
So you do 2 days of 24-hour fast 2 times a week, and then the rest of the week you're doing 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating. 8 hours
yes,
eating
that's
window.
Right.
Not that you're eating the entire 8
right.
hours, but yes, okay.
No.
And moving is a very difficult thing. It's very stressful, and you don't have the time because you're very busy. So one of the things that we stress, and as you have read in the book, is we're flexible. We have to be flexible. So even if you had to take a week off to move, that would be fine. But you're doing the 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating window, and that would be fine. So you can adjust to where you need to be for what your lifestyle is, and that's good. That's good. So good luck on the move. I wish we were there to help you, but unfortunately, we're not.
I wish you guys here to join us too with many things, not just help us moving, but we'd like to have you guys here. That would be wonderful.
Well, when the pandemic's all over, we'll definitely set that up.
Hope so too, one day.
Sure. So for the, I'm recording this. There will be people viewing it on YouTube and some other platforms that I'll put it on. So we're going to go ahead and start. I am M. David Peterson. I wrote the book, SuperFast, Fasting for Super Health. And J.C. Peterson is my wife. We have been fasting for over 5 years. We've been coaching people for that amount of time. We are here to share with you the lifestyle. And this is a picture of us before super fasting. This was actually back in 2014, a couple of years after JC and I met. I had ballooned up to just an unbelievable, at least 95 kilograms there. JC, who was skinny her entire life. She's been thin her entire life until she met me, an American. Who I was eating basically the American standard American diet in China with some Chinese influence, like hot peppers and that kind of stuff. And she ballooned up quite a bit too. So then we started super fasting in 2016. We started with intermittent fasting, and then I developed super fasting. And it worked for us. So after super fasting, that's us in 2018. Just a couple of years after we started super fasting, and as you can see, we dropped a lot of weight, and we became healthy also. And I started writing the book in 2019. I just published it in June of 2021.
By the way, I just want to add one more thing. In 2016, in the picture, you couldn't see that how fat Mark was because he was wearing this big hoodie to hide it. Okay, so you couldn't really see
That-
that part,
That
right?
hoodie
Can
was
see that.
huge. It was huge.
Huge.
I mean, I had to get rid of it because it was just so big and loose on me by the time I had lost all of the weight in 2018.
And
So,
and that's basically the rule of the dressing code. Like when you're fat, you tend to wear something loose, right? To cover
Bigger.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, bigger.
Yeah,
But when
that's right.
when you feel more and confident about your shape, you start to wear some tight ones. And another thing is, I think Peach was experienced that also. When you were dating and when you were in your honeymoon, both of you guys started like what we did that also. We went through that period also. We both of us gained a lot of weight, but it's all about then both of us decided to work on that. Then we fasted together. Then we both got healthier and thinner, right? So
yes.
you experiencing
That's
that
very
right
good.
now, right?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Very good.
Now, first question: why did Mr. Mark David Peterson write the book SuperFast, Fasting for Super Health? Why did you write this book?
I wrote the book because we had people who would come up to us and say, "Oh, you're fasting. I could never do that." Well, that's not true. If you're a human being, you can do it. The time it would take me to explain everything that we were experiencing in fasting, including not just losing weight, but getting healthy, it would take me hours and hours and hours, and I just didn't have that amount of time. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to then be able to say to people, you want to know more about fasting? Read my book. And it does tell more about fasting. So if you want to learn more than you learned today, definitely buy the book. We all here have read it or started reading it. So, and of course I wrote it. Okay, so next question.
Thank you for your next question. Why do you
Very
want
good reason to start writing and to share your good experience. That's very good.
That's exactly it. We love this lifestyle. It has done us so well. Excuse me. And you know, we thought we felt wonderful before that. In that picture in 2014, we felt wonderful. We thought we were happy. But then when we lost the weight and got healthy from fasting, we realized that we were not happy at that time, but we were happy being healthier. And yeah, we just want to share that with people. We want people to know what it's about. So
that's basically answer your second question. Why do we want people to know about super fasting? Because I can share some of my answers, because we went through, most of people went through, like we tried to lose weight, but then we yo-yoed and we were not super healthy. But now, then we found a way to maintain health, and we don't need to worry about to get back to be fat again, and then try to lose weight again, yo-yo again. So that's basically the secret of the super healthy life. Why don't we share that with people? Because many people want to know, right?
They want to know. They're sick of yo-yoing.
Right.
They're sick of trying to find new diets, and this is really, it's really the best lifestyle, and you can do it with any diet. You can eat meat. You can eat a fast food diet. Really, I mean, Michael Mosley, who wrote 5-2, he ate fast food a lot.
Yeah.
So, and of course it's better with a whole food plant-based diet, but fasting, super fasting will get you healthy no matter how you eat. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, right. That's right.
Yeah.
I believe the people who got burger diet or fast food diet and compare with the people who doing fasting. So you can see this type of people who gonna go to see the doctor often. More, people who doing fasting, they don't need to go to see the doctor, or you guys don't get sick that often. That's a very good benefit.
It is a very good benefit. We have what I call a super immunity based on super fasting, and we hardly ever get sick, and we never need to go to the doctor, and that actually will save your life if you never have to go to the doctor. So
Yeah, that's the bonus, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. So
And then
go ahead.
next question. Why
Yeah,
are we having this free workshop every Wednesday?
every
Yes,
Wednesday.
why?
Why?
Yes. Well, the book doesn't sell itself. The lifestyle doesn't promote itself, and so we need some way to get that word out. And this is really the way to do it. It'll evolve as we go along. Yeah.
Another reason is we want to have a platform for people who already experience fasting to share their experience, right? So we'll all get our discussion here, and then we'll share our experience with people who have no idea about what fasting is. Okay, now they know. We are not the only one who fast. Everybody has their own experience that we can share here, right? So it's like a community. So I think that's another.
And then that will give people who have not fasted yet some motivation to get started. So that's really what it is. And we want people to know what super fasting is. So all right. So that brings us to the next question. What is super fasting? Super fasting is intermittent fasting every week, whether that be 16-8, 1 day of fasting and 6 days of eating, 2 days of fasting and 5 days of eating, 3 days of fasting and 4 days of eating, which is what we do. Peach was doing that, but I suggested that she not fast that many times because she is very thin. So she went back to two days and 5 eating days, 2 fasting, 5 eating. And you can also do every other day fasting, which I have done before. I've done all of these protocols. And then every other day is, it's very difficult. Some people do 1 meal a day, which we have found to be extremely difficult. It's good, like if you're on a vacation and you just want to eat 1 meal a day, but fast the rest of the day. But to do that over a long period of time, it's kind of tough. So then you've got the intermittent fasting every week, and then 1 time per quarter. So we do this 4 times a year, a longer fast. We call it a long-term fast. Sometimes it's called an extended fast, and 3 to 7 days. So anything over 3 days is a long-term extended fast. And the fasting is cumulative. So certainly we get cumulative benefits from intermittent fasting every week. But these longer term fasts, we get benefits because there are benefits the longer you fast. So you're going to get far more benefits fasting 7 days than you would just fasting 1 day. So we put that all together and it becomes SuperFast, and it has been a wonderful lifestyle. So
right.
Basically, it's intermittent fasting plus long-term fasting together. It becomes super fasting. Yes.
And the first part of my book is intermittent fasting, and then I cover some other things like benefits and who should and shouldn't fast, this kind of stuff. And then the last chapter is long-term fasting and how to do it, how to break a fast, and that kind of stuff. So that kind of brings us to the next slide, and that is fasting dangerous? And one of the reasons I put that in today's presentation is because we had a bodybuilder acquaintance say, "Oh, but fasting is dangerous." And I said, "Well, no, fasting really isn't dangerous." He said, "Oh yeah, it eats away at the organs." And that's not true if you fast the correct way. And so we kind of said, well, if you know what you're doing, then that doesn't happen. And when that does happen is when you do a very long fast, like 3 weeks or more, and you go through all your fat stores, then you could start eating away at the protein, the muscle, the lean muscle tissue. But that's something different. And that goes into starvation. That's not fasting. And if you're extremely thin, like Peach is, she has to be careful about her fat percentage because you could go into that state if you have a shorter fast because you're so thin. But if you have a lot of fat, fasting is not dangerous. So in my book, I have a list of like 12 groups of people who should not fast because fasting for them would be dangerous. So we said to this guy, you are correct, but there are conditions to it. So here are some of the groups that should not fast, and that is anybody with an eating disorder, and anorexia is a example of an eating disorder. As you can see, this young lady is extremely skinny, and she's in the later stages of anorexia, and she's, unfortunately, if she continues and doesn't get help, she's in her death. She's gonna die. So it can be very dangerous if you get like that. And then you have people who are bulimic, who they eat a lot and then they purge, so they make themselves throw up, and that's not good either, because you don't get the nutrients, and then it ruins the teeth and that kind of stuff. So.
And also it hurts your
throat.
Yeah, because the acid will come out, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. And unfortunately, I have eating disorders in my family. My sister, I can say this because nobody knows who my sister is, but my sister shared with me that she had bulimia at one point. Hopefully she's over that. And my daughter.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Say it again.
Oh, sorry. That's the word that I'm thinking of. The people who have the eating disorder habit, they eat and they try to vomit out. Yeah.
Yes, that's bulimia. Anorexia is when you have a couple of kernels of corn, a couple of slices of carrot, and a leaf of lettuce as your meal, and then you feel like you just overate. And there are things with anorexia or bulimia that cause you to go into the starvation mode. But that's, like I said, I cover that in my book. Anybody who has an eating disorder should get right with their relationship with food before they try and do fasting. And, unfortunately, my daughter did not get right with her relationship. So I suggested she not fast. And you can do other things like whole food, plant-based diet and that kind of stuff. But anyway, elderly people should not fast. One of the reasons they did a study on elderly mice, and they had detrimental outcomes. And what the scientists decided was the reason is because we as humans start to waste away when we die. We go through a phase where our muscle mass wastes away and our internal organs waste away, and then we end up dead. And they figured that the fasting kind of puts that into the fast track mode. That's what they think. Well, if we're going to lose muscle mass and that's going to cause us to die, then I feel, and I think, and this is not tested, we need to study this, but I feel that resistance exercises will build muscle. And it does, resistance exercises build muscle in elderly people also. So if an older person is going to fast, they should be doing the resistance training. So should young people. And then the last one that I want to cover is if you break the fast incorrectly, it is extremely dangerous. You can go into something called refeeding syndrome, which can cause you to die. And there are many we're talking about in ancient literature, they talk about the refeeding syndrome. People who were starved for a long period of time, then they eat a lot and they die. They died because they ate, not because of the starvation, but because they ate. So these are examples of, I took all of these off of Facebook. These are examples of people who one meal a day, they break their fast every day like this. This guy ate a couple of corn dogs, a pile of chicken nuggets, and 2 pizzas, a sandwich, and 2 gallons of ice cream. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's so dangerous to put that much food in your body after you have not eaten for a while. And then these people wonder why they can't maintain this, So, yeah.
Yes. not very good idea.
It's not a good idea. And I cover how to break a fast, a short-term fast, and I cover how to break a long-term fast so you won't go into refeeding syndrome.
It will be even super dangerous if they did the long-term fasting, right? Because long-term fasting,
yes,
you really need to watch how you break the fast. That could be very dangerous, right?
It is especially dangerous for the long-term fast. Anything over 5 days, you could have refeeding syndrome when you start eating again. But if you do it the right way, you don't. We just don't have time to go over that today. So the healing crisis, why you feel worse before you feel better. A healing crisis is when your body gets rid of toxins or it heals a past injury and you don't feel good. And that's all a healing crisis is. And it's normal. One thing I suggest in my book is to concentrate on the healing, because this is a good thing, not the crisis. They call it a healing crisis because you're healing, but you don't feel good. That's really all it is. And you could have anywhere from headaches, nosebleeds, rashes, breakout in the skin is a healing crisis, smelly sweat, dandruff, excessive mucus, bad breath. We talked about bad breath last week. Insomnia, painful muscles and joints, pain at the site of previous injuries. I've had some carpal tunnel, and when I go into a long-term fast, my wrist starts hurting. And I know that that's because my body is healing. So any of these could be healing crisis. And one of the things that I learned in my research, which I thought was pretty cool, is it starts with the most recent injury or illness, and it progresses back over a lifetime. So when you get really healthy, you're going to take care of those things that happened to you when you were 5 years old, when you were 2 years old, which is just phenomenal that the body can do that. And then it starts from it starts from our heads and finishes with our toes. So most recent to oldest injuries and illnesses, and then head to toe. And so it just gives you an idea of what's going on when you're having a healing crisis. So that's about it. I do go into it in great detail in my book, Healing Crises. Now, you can also, this can be a question and answer. It can also be a comment. Like, have you ever had any healing crises, Peach?
You can share with us.
Yeah.
No. And that's not the first time I just heard. But I got a question about the topic about elder people.
Yes.
That they shouldn't do fasting. So back to that topic, I would like to ask you. So when we do fasting, how long we should do, and we should continue? Like my age now is 33 now. How long I should stop fasting, or can I continue until the age that I feel very old in the future?
Well, that's a good question. It's a great question. I started when I was 52. I plan on doing it until the day I die. And I don't think it's going to be a problem. When I get older, I'm going to be lifting weights. So I'm going to be continually gaining muscle mass and replenishing muscle mass. So I think you can do this all the rest of your life. And of course, then your body's used to it. It's not like all of a sudden you lose a lot of muscle mass and weight, and then your body says, "Oh my God, I must be dying." No, when I'm, we've maintained this weight for over 5 years, and so we're not going to have that quick weight loss or the quick loss of protein type of thing. So I think you can fast for the rest of your life, and you're going to be healthier and live a lot longer and a lot happier. So,
I started from, I think, when I was 38. So lucky you, Peach, because I started earlier, okay? So because the earlier, the better, actually. So I think it's all about, if you are not too old, if you can start at that age, you can continue, right?
Yes.
till the end, basically, right? It's the elderly people is about people who never fasted before, never who haven't done anything before, not even 16-8 diet before. Then they are too old, so now they like 80 years old. Now it's not really good idea for them to start at that time.
And that is the one thing I didn't say about the study is they started the rats when they were elderly. So if they started them young, they were fine and they lived a lot longer and as happy as rats can. And if they started in midlife, they still benefited from it. But if they started in late life, then it was detrimental. So need to be careful. So we are at the end of our time here, and I just wanted to plug my book here, SuperFast, Fasting for Super Health. Here is the link. You can go to SuperFast, superfit.com and you can find the link there. You can join us on Facebook at SuperFast, Superfit, our Facebook page. And any final words? Any Instagram? I'm on Instagram. I'm on where else am I?
WhatsApp.
YouTube.
Line.
I have a YouTube channel. Line. So and we should have next week we'll have our email, but you can find the email at superfastsuperfit.com. See you next week.
All right. See you next week, guys. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us,
Take
Peach.
care.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay. Hasta luego.